Do you consider yourself a nature lover? If you do, you won't want to miss this video. In fact, if you're interested in all things weird and unusual, you should definitely stick around. Get your mind ready as we take a look at the strangest plants you've never seen before. Whoever said stones were non-living things were wrong. Well, technically these aren't stones, so maybe that person was right after all. But they do resemble stones. Some people call it the pebble plant, rock plant, or living stone plant, but its proper name is lithope. Lithops are succulent and edible plants that live in semi-desert regions such as South Africa or Namibia. Their unique shape and beauty will leave you mesmerized. Their pebble-like appearance is an adaptation of the plant that allows them to blend into the landscape while adapting to the harsh conditions of the environment. On the surface, the plant has only 2 leaves separated by a crack. The rest of the plant stays underground to protect itself from drought. Its flowering is quite amazing and gives birth to pretty white, yellow, or pink flowers. Many people are familiar with the Venus flytrap, the unique plant that eats flies. It releases a floral and fruity scent to attract flies, after which it traps the flies and consumes them. However, this is only one of several organisms that belong to the carnivorous plant family. The sundew is another type of carnivorous plant. This means it also catches and digests insects to harvest what it needs to live. This allows it to live where other plants cannot, even on poor soils. The sundew can be found all over the world. It is made up of tentacles with a nectar gland at the tip. This gland produces a very viscous and sticky liquid, which allows it to trap insects that land on it. Once the insects have been caught, the tentacles wrap around its prey and suffocate it until it does not move. The gland produces a liquid that digests the insect and allows the plant to feed. This might look like a pond full of basil pesto sauce, but don't be fooled. This is Wolffia, the smallest flowering plant in the plant kingdom that thrives in an aquatic environment. It is actually a kind of duckweed and is sometimes called watermeal. These tiny green specks are spread on the surface of the lakes where they float quietly. It has no root. It's just an oval plant with a pistil and a single stamen in the center of the flower. The stamen is the pollen-producing part of a flower, while the pistil is the part of the flower that produces ovules, which are female egg cells. Wolffia rarely flowers on the continent of Europe. However, it is found all over the world, with a higher concentration in tropical regions. The bat flower is an exotic plant that has earned its name from its resemblance to a bat in flight. The ruffled, deep purple leaves look like the wings of a bat, while the long, hanging filaments mimic the bundles of tissue on the bat's wings. When the cluster of flowers closes, it gives the impression of a drapery. For some people, the long, thread-like appendages make the flower look elegant and graceful, but others find this flower to be quite sinister looking. It is sometimes referred to as devil's flower and can be found in West Africa and Southeast Asian countries like Malaysia, Thailand, and Burma. Indoor blooms and those outside in semi-tropical climates may appear in spring and last until early autumn. Despite the bat flower's dark and eerie appearance, its bloom is surrounded by large, attractive leaves. This mushroom looks like something straight out of a horror movie that will grab onto your leg when you get off the bed. Now, we know that mushrooms aren't technically plants. They are types of fungi that have a plant-like form with a stem and a cap. However, we're still gonna include them in this video. The Clathrus archeri is a native fungus that lives in Australia and New Zealand. Although it sort of resembles a starfish, it is more commonly known as stinkhorn octopus or devil's fingers. This unusual-looking mushroom arrived in Europe in 1914. Before showing its tentacles, this mushroom grows inside a transparent bag of 4 to 6 centimeters. When it's mature, 4 sticky tentacles come out of the bag to reach a length of 10 to 15 centimeters. The tentacles are covered with a kind of smelly brown jelly that attracts flies. Even though the devil's fingers attract flies, it is not carnivorous. It only covers the insects with its spores and uses them as a dispersing agent. Does this plant remind you of anything? Here's a hint. You use them to pick your nose. If you guessed fingers, you're correct. Xylaria polymorpha, commonly known as dead man's fingers, is a saprotrophic fungus. This means that it lives and feeds on dead and decaying plant and animal remains. It is a common inhabitant of forest and woodland areas, usually growing from the bases of rotting or injured tree stumps and decaying wood. This freaky-looking fungus earned its name because it resembles fingers from a corpse reaching up from the soil for rotting tree stumps. Now, I know what some of you really want to know is whether or not this can be eaten. Researchers have reported that all Xylaria contain amatoxin and phallotoxin, which are the same compounds you don't want to eat in some of the world's most dangerous mushrooms. However, chef and author Alan Burgo said he ate dead man's fingers multiple times and he has never gotten sick. He even said he really enjoyed the taste. So, would you try them? The Hydnora africana is one of the most bizarre plants on the African continent and looks quite monstrous with its scab-like brown color and jaw-like appearance. Also, is it just me or does this plant kinda look like a vagina? Anyway, the Hydnora africana is mainly found in South Africa. This plant lives like a parasite. A parasitic plant is a plant that derives some or all of its nutritional requirements from another living plant. This is the case because the Hydnora africana has no leaves and cannot produce chlorophyll, which is needed for the plant to undergo photosynthesis and produce its food. It clings to the roots of another plant called spurge to get the nutrients it needs. Despite the white, tooth-like hairs, this plant is not carnivorous. It does not trap insects and then digest them, but it does have a strong smell that is irresistible to pollinating insects. Once the insects have entered, the plant closes and holds them hostage for several days. When the flower opens again, the insects filled with pollen will be able to fertilize other plants and ensure the survival of the species. Often called the corpse flower, Rafflesia arnaldii blooms into the single largest individual flower in the world. It is a species of parasite living in hot and humid climates such as Malaysia, Borneo, Sumatra, and the Philippines. What is particularly interesting about the Rafflesia is that it has no visible stem, leaves, or roots. Instead, it has 5 big petals around a heart, resembling a huge mouth ready to swallow you. It can reach up to 1 meter in diameter and weigh up to 22 pounds or more. This is equivalent to the weight of a large bucket of water. It cannot manufacture chlorophyll since it has no leaves. This means it cannot produce its food by photosynthesis and is therefore forced to attach itself to another plant to share its food. Although the petals of the Rafflesia resemble large slices of pepperoni, going near this flower is sure to kill your appetite. It is said that it gives off the smell of a rotting meat or flesh in order to attract flies and carrion beetles. Rafflesia is a genus of plants which all smell bad in order to pollinate. We obviously can't get enough of plants that look like body parts, so let's check out the Actaea pachypoda, which is more commonly known as the doll's eye or white baneberry. It is a peculiar and fascinating plant that earned its name because of the white-colored fruit marked with a black dot, giving the appearance of an eye. This plant is prevalent in the prairies of North America and can grow up to 30 to 40 centimeters in height. At the end of summer, the stems which bear the white fruits take on a deep red color. As beautiful as it is, the fruits of this plant are highly toxic to humans and should not be ingested. In fact, all parts of the plant are toxic. The berries are considered to be especially poisonous. Large quantities may cause cardiac arrest or respiratory paralysis if consumed. Other symptoms include severe stomach cramps, dizziness, headache, diarrhea, and hallucinations. So do yourself a favor and admire the white baneberries from afar. This bloodtooth mushroom is definitely competing for the title of scariest looking plant. It is characterized by a white cap and small protrusions that form teeth on its lower part. It owes its name to the red liquid it produces, which resembles blood. The pigment it contains is said to have anticoagulant properties like heparin. Although it is widely referred to as the bloodtooth mushroom, it also goes by several other names: Peck's meadow mushroom, Hydnellum peckii, bleeding tooth, or devil's tooth. This fungus lives in the coniferous forests of Europe and North America, but also in the forests of Australia, Iran, Korea, and Russia. This mushroom is non-toxic, which means that it is safe to eat. However, the taste is so bitter that many consider it inedible and avoid it altogether. If you can handle the bitterness and you can get past that horrifying appearance, I'd say give it a try. Have you seen any strange plants lately? Tell us about it in the comments below. If you made it to the end of this video, that can only mean one thing. You are seriously into some weird-ish. So go ahead and press that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more weird content just like this.